This week's podcast introduces the healing brush tool in Photoshop and provides a couple practical examples of usage. And here we go. A very useful tool that's appeared in Photoshop in more recent years is the healing brush, and it's a great little tool that you can use to touch up photographs that have little imperfections in them. I'm going to go to the tool palette here and click on the healing brush, and you'll notice there's a couple different ones here. Let's start off with the spot healing brush. Now let's have a look at this picture here. I've got a bird on the roof, and as you see there's some white paint splotches on the roof tiles I'd like to get rid of. Now when we look at photographs and we think about getting rid of little imperfections like this, what some of us might go to initially is the airbrush. The problem with the airbrush here is that I have a textured surface, and if I use the airbrush, while I can sample the color of the surface, I can't sample the texture. That's where the healing brush comes in this case the spot healing brush. Now let's go up to our tool palette. Just like any brush in Photoshop, I can set a brush size, and that looks about right. I might want one a little bigger, just a little bit. Okay, I think that'll work there and there. Now, the way the spot healing brush works is I can click on an imperfection and the brush tool automatically samples the area immediately around the imperfection and replaces it. So I click, the paint splotch goes away. I can do the same thing here, there, and here. So in a few quick strokes, I can get rid of those little imperfections. That is what's great about the spot healing brush. And again, the brush size works just like any other brush. Grab it and click. In addition to the spot healing brush, we also have the full-on healing brush that we would use for more demanding purposes that we can't just click away. I'm going to switch to the healing brush tool, and let's have a look at my picture here. I've got some Civil War reenactors, and along the top of the photo I have this unsightly power line I'd like to get rid of. Now before we get started, let's have a look at our history palette. This is the state of the image when I opened it, and using a combination of the spot healing brush, I'm just going to click through here, and the healing brush, I can make that power line disappear. The question is, how did I do it? Well, let's have a look at that. Let's get started here by using the spot healing brush first. Now if you study the texture of the trees and the colors around the wire, you'll notice some different areas. Here on the right, we've got kind of a sunken, shaded texture. Now for the most part here, we've got a lighter texture, and on the far left we've got some other colors to deal with. Keeping this in mind, we want to do as good a job as possible of sampling and duplicating the area around the different parts of the wire so that we can make a convincing healing brush job here. Let's start with the end here, and I'm just going to sample that out and that out. Take that in the middle there. Okay, I'm going to switch to the full-on healing brush tool, and I'm going to increase my brush size just a little bit. I think that'll work. Now what I'm going to do to start with is I'm going to hold down my Option key, and I'm going to drag a length alongside of this portion of the wire. Then I'm going to drag over the wire itself to replace it with the area I just sampled. And there we go. Now let's do the same here. And the same here, moving up to the end, and I'll go back and get the rest of this in a moment. I'm going to reduce my brush size, maybe just a little more. Okay, I think that'll work. And another sample here. Alright, and there's our wire, airbrushed, or rather healing brushed, out of the picture. Now I've still got a little blur here where I had taken out a piece of the wire. And while the average viewer may not be able to spot that, I can spot it, and I'd like to do just a little better job here. I'm going to go back to the spot healing brush and just sample that a little more effectively. And there we are. That's how we can use the healing brush, the spot combined with the regular healing brush, to take an image from that to that.